Hi everybody, welcome back to Backstage Bimbo TV. My name is Allison Rouse, your most notorious groupie and author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie, me. So today we're going to do another of a bonus episode. I've been trying to do these on Wednesdays because for those of you who read my book, you know I don't introduce myself personally a lot. My book really is just a bunch of road stories that me and my friends made memories doing, and just a bunch of stupid shit we did. I don't get really personal in my book. I don't get too much into my private life, my personal life, my stripping career, nothing. Mainly because I don't think that's what people want to hear. You know, but it costs me in a way because like a lot of people on my Amazon are like, oh, she should have stayed in school. Sweetie, my senior year in high school, I was in beauty college. I was in high school. I was working at Burger King and partying with the bands. What were you doing? Getting drunk at a high school party, sleeping with the football team? Yeah. For those people, fuck you. You don't know because I don't talk to you about it, so how dare you make these assumptions? And this is kind of why I'm doing these midweek vlogs, to kind of combat these assumptions. So we're going to talk a little bit more today about my stripping career. Because it was a career. It wasn't just going into a strip club, grinding on a bunch of guys, and doing things that most people... I wasn't a single mom. I do know my daddy. I have incredible male influences in my life, my whole life, including the Rock Boys. I have complete self-respect, and I am an intelligent, educated woman. Just because I don't talk about my education in my book doesn't mean I'm not educated. And for those who say I'm uneducated, I went to college, and and trust me, no creative writing class will teach you how to write a book. I made straight A's in English and creative writing and everything. Didn't teach me how to write a book. Nope, not at all. So, but let's get more into my stripping career today. I'm not going to do any cocktails. I'm just going to finish up the one I was drinking. So you can grab a cocktail, grab a joint, grab a stripper, grab whatever you'd like, kick back. Let's have a little Rocky talkie. Just a little story about how I became a stripper. So for those of you who read my book, you know the very beginning of my book, I do talk about, there's a couple things that should have been a clue. I kind of always knew that I was going to lead a different life. I didn't know what stripper was, but there used to be a show called Real People, and they would go to different countries, different cities, different states, whatever, and they would do things on real people like contortionists or stuff like that. Just all kinds of just different people that were from different angles of society. So this one episode they were doing on strippers and punk rockers. And they showed these punk rock girls in this pink leather and their mohawks and their pink bobs. And, you know, it was fashion punk rock. It wasn't real punk rock, because real punk rock was designed by Vivienne Westwood. Not by your friend sticking a needle. Well, I guess they did have safety pins at some point, but most of the clothes the Sex Pistols were wearing were by haute couture designer Vivienne Westwood. So, God, where was I? So, most of you who have read my book know this story. So, the Real People, so I'm like all excited about this pink hair and the punk leather. And then the next segment they get to is strippers. And they show the lights and the poles and the pretty girls and how the guys are just clinking their champagne in a gentleman's club, and these girls were smart, intelligent girls. They weren't like, the 70s was kind of the biker, low class, supposedly kind of stripper. The 80s it started getting, and by the time I started stripping in 1991 at the age of 20, February of 91 is when I started dancing. I did not start dancing at 16 like some rumors have had. I was 20. Wasn't even a teenager. I wasn't even 18. So when the show Real People was over, I remember turning and looking at my dad, who was just enjoying his Sunday, his regular Sunday night scotch and a little popcorn, watching the TV shows. And his 12-year-old daughter turns to him and looks at him and says, "When I grow up, I'm going to become a punk rock. I'm going to dye my hair pink and become a stripper." Yeah, my dad spit his scotch all over the place. He's like, "Over my dead body." My dad is alive and well. He's fine. He's 80-something years. God, 81 now. Yeah, so he's all right. He's all right, despite what we all know my future was. And plus, I used to dance. Like, my mom would go into their bedroom, my mom and dad's bedroom, and put the nice hot laundry from the dryer on there and get ready to fold it. And I would come in and throw in the 8-track tape of Fiddler on the Roof and just strip off all my clothes and start jumping naked on the bed. And my mom would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do this for a living someday." And she was just like, "Oh, jizzy crizzy. What did I birth?" I was naked all the time. Like, I would even throw a fit if my underwear didn't match the dress. Like, I would rip off my underwear and stuff. So, your daughter being naked, unless she was playing in her great-grandmother's original Chanel clothes, this should have given you a clue. I was going to be a stripper. It was inevitable. But it had nothing to do with any incidents or shortcomings or anything like that in my life. It's just what I knew I was going to do. So in 1991, I had been in Seattle early 1990 and had the opportunity to go work at a couple strip clubs up there. But I wasn't ready to do that, and I just couldn't do it. These strip clubs seemed kind of seedy anyway, and that wasn't my style. So in 1991, Krista, who you all know from the book, Charlie was her stage name. She was the lead singer of a local band's girlfriend. She's the one that ratted me out to James Hetfield's at the time girlfriend, Kristen. Another frenemy. But she had come to me, she's like, "Hey, there's a new strip club opening up." And there was only one totally nude club in Salt Lake at the time. And one of the strippers and her regular customers decided to open up the American Bush, the strip club that I started at. So I went and auditioned, got the job, whatever. But it wasn't just a normal strip club. This was a very small cabaret, totally nude strip club. And it was a cabaret. Like, it wasn't just about putting on a G-string and a couple pair of heels walking around the stage. No, there was 6 feet between you and the crowd. So you had to walk around and collect your tips after your stage show. But we were absolutely 100% taught from day one that we could not hit that stage without doing a big theme set. Which, hanging out with the rock stars came in handy for this in my life because I learned from them how to perform on a stage, how to project to the crowd, how to entertain the crowd, and how to draw them in. Because strippers are not selling sex. Despite what society's general idea of, "Oh, we're single moms, we don't know our dads, we have piece of shit lazy boyfriends, and give all our money to them, and we're always broke." No, not at all. These are not the strippers that I knew. The strippers I knew, we were all upper middle class girls. We just happened to be free spirits, and we were kind of spoiled by our parents, and we're okay doing that. We were all in college, like everybody I worked with along the lines. Dental school, a lot of psychology, a couple girls who were being doctors. I was studying art history. My best friend became a hugely successful real estate agent. She's retired by the age of 40. Yeah, well, strippers are fucking stupid little girls, aren't we? Hell and no. Every stripper I know after their stripping careers, especially the Vegas girls, they're all successful in every aspect of their lives. Because when you work for yourself, and that's what you do as a stripper. So when I auditioned at American Bush was a cabaret. We could not hit that stage without doing like a theme show. Like you see girls doing, dressing up, in the schoolgirl outfits. That was okay to do. But like I had, the doctor, the nurse, because I would do Alice Cooper, Nurse Rosetta, and then Kiss Dr. Love. So I had this big elaborate set with this costume with the glitters. My costumes were $300 just for a sequined custom done 350 bikini that was by Strings by Judith, who now has a big shop in Vegas. The last I knew she did, but she used to custom make these really awesome costumes, and she would come around to the strip clubs around the United States. Her and her husband just drove around, and they would come in and show us their costumes, and we'd buy them. So my costumes were not just G-strings and clear platform heels. They were costumes. I even did Rock Me Amadeus, where I had the big Marie Antoinette wig. I found an old wedding dress with this long train and cut it up and dyed it and stuff. So this is what was expected of us, just as girls at the original strip club that I worked at in Salt Lake City. Well, they also introduced me within my first year, because I do perform good. I am a good dancer, and like I said, I rock on that stage, and I'm not going to be ashamed to say so. I'm tired of getting berated because I'm proud of what I've done in my life, or yeah, I was hot when I was younger. I'm not going to apologize because other groupies aren't, so why should I? But so I rocked that motherfucking stage. I was one of the best dancers you ever saw, to the point where when I was in Vegas, if you wanted to come audition at Little Darlings or Showgirls, the GM and the owner would make you sit and watch my ass. I hated it, because it would peg me out as the bitch of the club, their favorite. But I was their number one moneymaker, so. And all the girls could dance. All the girls that I worked with could, from day one. There were some amazing girls that put on some killer shows. Like Shiloh, this one girl, she was like 40 when she started, probably a little older. She was kind of the old man special. But she would put on a show where she would have these blinds, like you were looking in her window, like window blinds, put around the stage before she went out. And she would be pretending to be getting ready and putting on lotion, and she would get dressed. Like I said, I would do my nurse set. I had my Sex on the Flag, which was a KMFDM song. I hand sewed friggin' old Soviet Union flag, sequins it all hand by hand. I did a Dorothy set, Follow the Yellow Brick Road. I did, like I said, I had Big Coffin. So when I first started out dancing in American Bush, I just thought, oh, I can dance, I can go to college, I can make a lot of money. Because at American Bush, we did not give lap dances in Salt Lake City. They are still illegal. No such thing here. So I didn't know, the first 4 years of my stripping career, I didn't know what lap dances were, but I sure as hell knew after that first year that I could get into men's magazines. There were these competitions that would become the big shows on the Vegas Strip twice a year, in December and January, the Miss World Topless and the Entertainer of the Year. Well, the owners of the strip club, because one of the owners, the girl who used to be the stripper, Cindy, she was a makeup artist in LA as well. She lived between Salt Lake and LA. Well, she knew all these things that you could do in the strip club world, and the Miss World Topless was the first competition. Like, we had to compete with other girls from other strip clubs, and me and Brandy from American Bush became the ones that represented Salt Lake City. And I had already done things with rockers like MTV, VH1, HBO, Spice Channel. Well, no, I hadn't done HBO yet or Spice, but I had done MTV and VH1, because you're hanging out with the band and they're like, hey, sweetie, you want to be in my video? It was kind of a pickup line. Okay. And it saved the band money, because the groupies and not the models are in there. But so I had already had some experience, and plus I already knew how to perform, thanks to touring with rock stars and seeing concert after concert after concert, night after night after night. So we became the Enter the Night show at what was the Stardust. I believe the Treasure Island is there now. And I wasn't living in Las Vegas yet. I was still living in Salt Lake City for my first 4 years of dancing. I was living in Salt Lake City, never gave a lap dance, nothing. So we become the big Enter the Night show. We are on pay-per-view, like Vince Neil, Lemmy, our judges. I mean, other musicians were there too. The last night where the top 10 were performing their big theme shows, which we got to use the props from the Stardust from these big Vegas shows. RuPaul was one of the MCs. Like, she came down, oh my God, it was amazing. And this is before, when RuPaul was kind of first coming to the scene, the Club Kids were big, because RuPaul was actually part of the Club Kids. Another vlog, God, see, this is, my rock life is so big, I get into these black holes of explanations, so I'm sorry. But so yeah, this was, and when you did the Enter the Night show, like Larry Flint was there, Bob Guccione from Penthouse, Playboy Scouts were there. You know, like one of the girls I worked with at American Bush, the only reason she got turned down for Playboy is because she was a stripper, and they did not want to put that aspect into their magazine. Well, I hate to tell you this, those Playboy chicks are way bigger whores than any other stripper that I ever knew, even me. Those girls, you have to fuck Hugh Hefner to get in that magazine, or you used to, and the Playboy Mansion is disgusting. Like the Grotto, not kidding, has an STD and a fungus that science cannot figure out. The mattresses have never been cleaned since 1978. I mean, I don't want to be in that magazine. I wanted to get out of the Playboy Mansion the second I stepped foot in there. But so this is the kind of strip club I originally worked at. They expected more than just strippers. We were entertainers. We even did our own shows. So when I went to that first Miss World Topless, was it 91 or 92? It was December. I think it was 91. Was the first one I went to. Not only was I on pay-per-view my first time, but that's how my dad found out I was a stripper. Him and his poker buddies sitting in back in Missouri watching some strippers on pay-per-view. Well, they get to the number 56, Miss Raven Christie. My dad says turn off the TV. Oh God, I got home after this week in Vegas and got about 100 voicemails from my dad. So that's kind of how my dad found out I was a stripper. But so, I mean, like, we had a choreographed opening sequence that all the strippers, like the choreographer for the Enter the Night show, which was the #1 show at the time in Vegas, choreographed. So we would come out, we'd do our choreograph, we'd be introduced one by one, day by day, so many girls would be eliminated. Fortunately, I came in the top 10. So I got to do my big show. I had an 8-foot tall coffin made. I did I was the first stripper to do a vampire set, and still to this day the only stripper that knew how to use a foot cable. Like you see Pink and them doing the silks, you know, all the Cirque du Soleil stuff. This is what I did on a foot cable with a stirrup at the end of a steel rope. I would do all that stuff with just my foot in a cable. So when you came in the top 20, pretty much, you got offers to do feature shows, offers to be in magazines, offers from other clubs to headhunt you. You got, how we were even offered to come be, we'll move you down here if you want to be a Vegas showgirl, like a showgirl. They only pay them $750 a week, and you got to do 3 shows a day, 6 days a week. I can make $750 a day as a stripper. Fuck if I'm going to become a showgirl in Vegas. But so, this is when I started getting offers. So when I very first started dancing within my first year, I've done Hustler. I did the Miss World Topless, the Entertainer of the Year. I did my first feature show at Stringfellows in the UK because Peter Stringfellow was there. And turns out we have a lot of same rock and roll friends, John included. Yeah, so that's kind of, and a feature show, like I said, is a stripper being a rock star. That's a stripper going on tour. Now, to do this, it's just like a rock star. You got to have an album. You got to have stuff to back it up, which I did. So I just started doing magazines. And when I very first started doing feature shows, you go out, you do 3 shows, 3 days. So usually it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And you go to different strip clubs around the world. There was also, so I went to Stringfellows. My second one was at Pure Platinum in Chicago. And this is owned by MJ Peters, Michael James Peters, who owns Pure Platinum and the Dollhouses. Well, he also had a stripper dance troupe, like a cabaret style group that was what I was already doing, put together, called the Platinum Dolls. He asked me to become part of the Platinum Dolls, which we all had platinum blonde wigs, choreographed outfits. We pretended to sing, we lip synced, you know. It was kind of a Spice Girl thing, but naked, before the Spice Girls or anything like that happened. And that was the first time we were invited to go on to the Moulin Rouge. Doesn't get better. I mean, the pinnacle of where strippers came from, Paris, the Moulin Rouge. I did, and I've done that twice. Once with the Platinum Dolls and once on my own. They invited me to do my own show years later, in my Vegas years. So this was my introduction into stripping. Hadn't done a lap dance yet, but I'd done feature shows. I'm starting to do magazines. So it's not always just going into a strip club. You think, oh, I support single mom stickers. Fuck that. Like I said, there was maybe 5 single moms compared to, in Las Vegas, 100 girls on the shift. There might be 5 of them. And in Salt Lake City, there was 15 girls working at that club. No more. I think 10 at first. That's how small of a strip club it was. So I was introduced into the strip club world in a very different manner. I hit the ground running pretty much. It was not my plan, but Cindy and Hal picked me and Brandy and Chelsea to be like, we were in their commercials, we were on their posters, we were in their advertisement and stuff, so we just kind of let them turn us into the strippers they wanted us to be, the showgirls, the real, actual entertainers. So 4 years later, I moved to Seattle. And the strip club I worked at in Salt Lake City was just an independent-owned strip club, not a chain. Had never danced with a chain before. Had been in Seattle before. Swore up and down, never going to work for the Deja Vu. I hear they're sleazy. Moved to Seattle. Where do I go to work? Downtown Deja Vu, first dance spot, First and Pike Street, right across from the big old clock and the fish throwers. And, you know, I was like, God, I really don't want to work here. There was also Razzmatazz, which was owned by Tammy Down from Faster Pussycat, his foster mom, Pam. She used to own that strip club, but then Harry Mahoney, who owns Deja Vu, bought them out. And Harry, to this day, owns about, I would say, 70% of the strip clubs in the world. And I'm not kidding. He is an incredibly intelligent man, one of the sweetest guys. You would never know this guy has slept with thousands of strippers and owns hundreds and hundreds of strip clubs. He's about my height. I'm 5'6", so he's probably about 5'7", 5'8". Always a baseball cap on, an Izod style t-shirt, and khakis. He always looks like he's coming off the golf course. But he owns 3 planes and hundreds of strip clubs. So this was the first big chain that I actually went and worked at, which was cool because then I realized, you know, other girls were going up to Alaska to dance. I'm like, what do you mean? Go to another club and dance for a couple months? What? They fly you up there and they put you, what? So Seattle was where I kind of learned that I could go, like, that was when I first went to Seattle. I went to Guam because of, not till I went to Vegas, but also I was going to Japan to work for 2-3 months at a time, and they would pay you to, you know, fly you over, put you up and stuff, which, this is the 3rd time I had gone to Japan. I just moved to Las Vegas, so we'll get to that in a minute. But so Seattle was where I kind of learned that I could even expand my stripping career even more, and I could still travel the world, and I didn't need the rock stars to do it. So here I was going to Japan for a few months at a time, going to Alaska for a couple months at a time, you know, and making hand over fist cash. I didn't learn how to give a lap dance till Seattle. That's where I learned how to give a lap dance. I was 4 years into my stripping career. So, but Seattle helped me expand my stripping career even more. I was already doing features, but I didn't realize there was this whole circuit that women went around all over the world to different clubs. I even went back to Paris, you know, a couple more times to work at that club and do the Moulin Rouge. But then I moved down. Deja Vu was, Seattle had some very, very strict stripper laws. You could only be, they were all totally nude clubs. You could have no alcohol and totally nude. This is the way it is around most places in the United States. If it's totally nude, no alcohol. Pasty and thongbacks or just topless, you can have alcohol. So I tended to work at a lot of nude club because I wasn't having to deal with drunk ass sons of bitches. They were sober. So A lot more calm, a lot less handsy, a lot less. And keep in mind, I have never once, no stripper I ever knew, ever once, performed any type of sex act for money. Ever. Because there's a difference between a hooker and a stripper. I've proven this legally. I've many times, never once did I perform any type of sexual act for money. Sex is absolutely only for my personal life, and my personal life never came in the strip club. Ever. Only once on accident did a band member I know come into my strip club, and that was my first week in Las Vegas when nobody knew I was living in Las Vegas yet, and I didn't know what concerts were going on. So we didn't even go to strip clubs in Salt Lake City because why? They had the best groupies. They don't need any strippers. But so anyway, Seattle's where I learned to kind of give a lap dance, and my friend Panda taught me. Panda was the best at lap dances. I learned more pole moves. I got better on the, doing stuff that I didn't know you would do at a normal strip club. Well, also because Deja Vu, Harry Mahoney would come in and he would talk to me about it. He'd be like, what do you mean you don't? He's like, you can go to any of my strip clubs and work. I was, what? He's like, yeah, we're opening a new one in Las Vegas. Little Darlings. His very first Deja Vu strip club in Las Vegas. Really? He's like, yeah, I'll fly you down. He's like, I'll put you up for a couple weeks, just, like they do at all the other places. Bitchin'. Let's do this. And if you've read the book, as far as the rock side of my life, Kristen and I were having a falling out, and we were roommates at the time, and it was just time for us to part ways for a while. So, Las Vegas for a couple months sounded fantastic. I think it was going to be 2 months. So, fly down there. Actually, I flew myself down there. I kept calling the GM, Jack, hey, I'm working at, so you're going to let me work when I get there, right? I work at another, he's like, you're going to have to audition. I said, no, but I work for Deja Vu. Harry said I could work there, so you're going to have to audition. So he gave me shit. So I got on a plane. I just bought a one-way ticket to Vegas. That was it. Had about $1,000 in my pocket, needed to get the hell out of my house, had just gone up to Alaska for 3 months because in Seattle, they have very, very strict laws, like I was saying. Sorry, I get sidetracked. But they have very strict laws of dancing. They even dictate how much a stripper can charge, which is actually against the law because a stripper's independent contractor and nobody can tell her what to charge. Not even Deja Vu, and even Deja Vu does this. So in Seattle, it was $5 for a table dance, which you could only be nude on the stage. You could not take your top or your thong back off while giving a lap dance. So $5 for a table dance and $10 for a couch dance. When you're given $5 out, you don't have to give anything out of the table dances, but you have to give $5 out of every lap dance to the house. Plus pay a $50 to $75, depending on which strip club in which city, house fee to work there. So no, the strippers taught me, oh no, we all charge $50 for a dance. You're not supposed to grind. You're supposed to be 6 inches away. We all grinded. We all overcharged. We all broke. This is the only way I broke the law because I grinded and flashed my boobs, or would flash my vajayjay because you're not supposed to. And for $50, yeah, okay, I'll flash. I'm naked on the stage already. You've already seen it. No big deal. It was a big deal when the undercovers were in there one night and 6 of us went to jail for being totally nude in a strip club and accepting money for an illegal act, which was flashing my boobs off stage. So when Deja Vu represented us, they got it knocked down to the point where it basically came out because we kept Deja Vu lawyers kept saying, oh, we need to, continuance. So the city of Seattle just got exhausted and said, okay, well, if these girls don't do anything, get no more violations in 3 months, we'll expunge it from your record. I went to jail in Seattle for flashing my boobs in a totally nude strip club. So I went to Alaska for 3 months, didn't get any more violations, came back down to Seattle. I had heard about the new strip club that Deja Vu was opening, their first strip club, Little Darlings, in Las Vegas. Fuck yeah. I want to go there. Talk to Harry. He's like, yeah. He's like, go. So I actually bought my own plane ticket, went down, had no idea, hotel, nothing. Just had $1,000 in my pocket, needed to get the fuck away from my roommates and Kristen at the time. Got off a plane, got in a cab. I was like, cab drivers, where do you want to go? So, well, I'm coming down to work at this new strip club, Little Darlings. Oh, yeah, I know which one it is. Because in Vegas, they pay the cab drivers $20 per guy that they bring to that strip club. That's how they became the #1 strip club, because they were the only club doing that. So, flew down to Vegas, had no idea what I was doing, walked into Little Darlings. Jack is a leg man, the GM. He saw my legs, and he was like, Then he saw me on stage. And Jack had very high expectations. At Little Darlings, if you were caught swearing in that building, it was a $500 fine. Doesn't matter if it was the dressing room, the floor, the parking lot. We had a certain caliber of woman that he wanted to work at that strip club. And he housed it with the top notches. There were several features just like me. There was about 10 of us that were features that did magazines and stuff. That a couple of them had started doing porn. There was Tammy Boom, there was Mercedes, there was a lot of us. There was, like I said, 10 of us. So went down to Vegas, ended up that was July, then CES and Comdex come about. The Miss World Topless and stuff are not going on. Usually went on during CES and Comdex because there's an adult side to both of those conventions. Well, then Deja Vu had me and my best friend and a couple other girls who were in the magazines, because I started doing the in-house magazines. Like the first month I was there, Jack and the owner, Harry Mahoney, was like, yeah, we're doing photo shoots. You need to come be in this magazine. So the Deja Vu House magazine, Showgirls, was the only magazine I never got paid for, but they would always give me magazines to take out on the road. So started doing magazines there, started doing more feature shows, represented Deja Vu, because Deja Vu on the adult side, Adult Dex and Adult CES, where it was like Vivid Video, all the big strip clubs, all the big porn companies, all the sex toy companies, everybody. And we were literally, Deja Vu had a stage set up in the middle of that convention on the adult side, where we would come out every half hour and we would do our shows. And seriously, Jenna Jameson, Gina Fine, Janine Lindemuller, a lot of these women that I had met before featuring at the same clubs that they did would stop and they would come watch us. And that's how I even got more feature shows and more gigs and stuff like that. So I had a stripping career. And that's how it stayed until I just got so burnt out on it. Oh, I got the last 2 years of my stripping career, I was so burned out. You know, I'd go on stage. I can tell you she's been in 78 men's magazines, MTV, VH1, HBO, Spice Channel, Playboy Channel, XTV, Warp TV. I've been in French Vogue, French Cosmo, British Vogue, British GQ, Australian GQ, Australian Vogue, American GQ. I've walked runways because for a few years in my Vegas years, thank you, Pamela Anderson, she made strippers trendy. So I've walked for Heatherette, which was obviously Richie Rich from the Club Kids era. I already knew him. Anna Sui, John Galliano, you know, and I went back to Paris and back to London to work at Stringfellows and stuff. I went all over the United States, especially in the summer, because it was always so slow in the summer. So I had this big career where if I was not at my club in Vegas or out on the road with a rock band, I was either out on the road doing my own shows, which was pretty awesome because, you know, here's my name up in lights. Here's me doing, and I would run into different musicians in different cities that I knew. What are you doing here? Oh, I'm featuring a Pure Platinum at Stringfellows, at the Runway 69, or, you know, the Pink Pony, wherever. Seventh Veil, or was it the Rhino? Spearmint Rhino. So I went and did all this. This was my big stripping career. And it was a career. It wasn't just going into a strip club. I was never, you know, giving the extras for a few extra dollars. No. In Vegas, I learned how to... Seattle, I learned how to overcharge. Vegas, I learned why. Really. It's like upgrading a car. $30 dance is what Deja Vu suggested you pay your strippers for a dance. $30, topless only. I'm staying about 2 feet away from you. I'm not grinding. It's a looky-loo dance is what I called it. $60, I'll be nude. I'll grind a little bit. I'll put my tits into your face. Whatever. Now the $100 dance came about because I was a stripper that in Vegas invented a bed dance. Because at Deja Vu and Little Darlings, their first club was Little Darlings, their second one was Showgirls, and I worked at both. I ended my stripping career in Vegas at Showgirls after John died. But so they had these theme booths, like the Moroccan room, the moon room, the teacher's room and stuff, and I had just come off a stage and all the booths were full except for the bedroom. Yeah, a bed like this, but it was like a double-sized bed. I tried to sit the guy on it. I tried to do, I just couldn't do it. So I was like, you know what? Just lay flat on your back. And I just did a lap dance all over him. Laying flat on his back. Oh my God. And there's cameras all over the club. And every Deja Vu, there are cameras everywhere, guys. Ladies, and if you're going to go be sketchy, you can't be sketchy, especially the ones in Vegas. There are cameras in every single dance booth, on the stage, in the DJ booth, in the dressing room, at the entrance, everywhere but the bathrooms. So, you know, the floor walkers who count your dances, who keep track of how much money we owe them, and Jack, the GM, are sitting back there, and they didn't want us to grind. And I had already been grinding, and Jack busted me, and he's just sitting there watching me. And I was like, well, he busted me grinding. Might as well finish the dance like this. What's he going to do? I'm an independent contractor. You cannot tell me not to grind. That's why Jack and I are friends to this day, because he knows I'm smarter than I look, or than I act sometimes. So I invented the bed dance, but the floor walkers didn't know what I was doing, so I invented that. And then next thing you know, Deja Vu is putting in every one of those theme rooms. They ripped out all the themes and put beds. So half of them were couch dances, half of them were bed dances. And my bed dance was the $100 dance. VIP room, $1,500 for a half an hour, $2,500 for an hour. No sex, no drugs, lots of rock and roll, baby. You don't touch me in my funny business. I slapped people twice for touching me in the funny business. One of them was a 75-year-old man. I had my panties on because he only got a $30 dance. I backhanded his ass. Don't touch my funny business. Tell them at the beginning of the dance, this is what you get, this is what you get, this is what you get. You want to upgrade like a car? Then okay. You want the basic? Then you're going to get the Hyundai dance. You want the mid-grade? All right, I'll give you the Lexus, the Cadillac. But you want the $100 dance, you're getting the Bentley. And in the VIP room, the Bentley, that's why $1,500 and $2,500. So that was my stripping career. Yeah. Whenever girls would come audition in Vegas, I could tell. And I have to tell you this is funny. I could tell because if I was on stage, or if I was not in line to go on stage, if I was on stage, the DJ would be like, you want to see her again, gentlemen? Yeah, let's bring her out for one more song. I knew right then we'd have an audition. Because Jack would tell him, if you can dance as good as this girl can, even half as good, then you can work here. Your looks didn't matter at Little Darlings or Deja Vu. It was your performance and your level. At Deja Vu and them, the strippers were up a whole different level. So I could always tell. And when girls would audition, this is when most strip club poles we know can rotate, so you can do really awesome pole moves without having to do a run and jump like the old days. Well, this is about 95 when I first moved down to Vegas. So about then is when these rotating poles were actually coming in to the strip clubs. They just were kind of invented. And we had a huge stage at Little Darlings. So you had the front pole and then two poles back on kind of the center of the stage on the sides. The front pole we kept as a rotating pole. And every single time an audition would come in, Jack would tell me and my friends to tell the girls who auditioned that the front pole spun so they don't need to take that run and jump. Fuck no, we never did. Come on. And Jack knew we wouldn't, but he kept doing it. So he wanted to see this just as much as we did. So you would see the girls take a run and a jump at the pole. and then just go flying off because they didn't expect the pole to turn, so you get that extra inertia, and they're all holding on for dear life. Oh my God, you know. So okay, that is kind of bitchy, but it was funny as hell. And he could have told them he could have told the audition girls auditioning, and even when I would feature at other Deja Vus, him and Harry Mahoney would make me go on the stage and have like a Sunday meeting with the other strippers and make me go on stage and show them what they expected, because I would do a lot of grand openings for Deja Vu. And it drove me nuts. I fucking hated it. Because, yeah, I was a great performer as a stripper. I was a good dancer. I did pole moves, the foot cable. I can walk upside down on the ceiling. But I hated it because it made the girls so intimidated and scared of me, because they're like, oh, we know who the favorite is. And it's like, but I earned to be the favorite. I worked my ass off for that club. I did, for Deja Vu, I did all their commercials for free. I did their magazines for free. I did their conventions for free. I mean, but I got a lot of promotion out of it, and I got a lot of gigs out of it. So I worked my ass off for everything I earned as a stripper. And to say that I was one of the best, I earned it. And I was. And anybody who's ever had a lap dance for me, or I've showed to give a lap dance, yep. Like I said, I invented the bed dance. I didn't mean to. But shit, yeah, you know I did. It's like, because you're sitting on top of a guy who's on his back, and it's giving him the idea. Because like I said, you're not selling sex as a stripper. You're selling attention, affection, butterflies, fantasy. And if you know that, you're going to make a lot of money as a stripper. If you think you're selling a fly blowjob in the back, you're not a stripper, honey. You're a hooker. Get the fuck out of my club. You're not going to be making money. You're going to be tossed to the side like most hookers are. Yeah. So that was my stripping career, and that's, like I said, Deja Vu opened up a second strip club in Vegas, and that's where, when John died, I was working, and I ended my stripping career in 2003. So I danced for 13 years. 13 years of no alarm clocks, of hella money, shopping when I want to, always paying my bills. That 13 years is still sitting in my bank account. Like I said, we were not stupid. I was going to college. I was going to college for art history. The girl, like I said, every girl I knew was in college. My friend Ginger, who I met traveling all over the place, who used to come to Vegas all the time, she's from Australia. She paid her house off in 5 years. Us strippers are such stupid, stupid girls. Total whores, right? Like I said, my best friend became a very successful real estate agent and was retired by the time she was 40. Yeah, Ginger's retired now too. Jennifer's married with 2 wonderful kids. Owns, her and her husband own businesses. Let's see. All of us. I can tell you every single woman. A couple of them are teachers, designers, make handbags, have Etsy shops, everything. We're still independent career women, just like we were back then as strippers, because this is a generation of strippers that I grew up with. So we're not single moms. We do know our daddies. We haven't been raped or molested. And yeah, I get kind of pissed off that I'm here to support my single mom stickers of strippers on poles that I see on the Trumponian trucks. On your Ford F-350s. Yeah, we see those. There's two or three single moms out of 100 girls that would work one night in Deja Vu. The rest of us were college girls or paying off our houses or stocking money away, because I was making $1,000 a day on a slow night. Convention season was $2,000 to $3,000 a day. Put half of it away, put half of it back into my closet and my shoes. So that was my actual stripping career, and that was many other girls' stripping career that I knew. We traveled the world. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, my best friend and I, the 3rd time I went to Japan, this is how badass and tough we are. We had to escape the Yakuza. And for those of you who don't know what Yakuza is, It's the Japanese mafia that makes the American mafia look like sissies. We were in a house and they kept asking for our passports. Like my best friend and I went over and they kept asking for our passports to keep it safe. And we went over with another girl and her best friend that we worked with. So me, my best friend, cousin Amy, and Susie Q, we were not giving away our passport, but her friend Christina, she thought, here you go. But she was the girl with the blonde braids, like Bo Derek braids, going arigato, konnichiwa, not arigato, konnichiwa, not, saying it in a very proper white girl manner. Oh my God. Second she gave her passport, we're like, bye, bitch. But they weren't telling us where the club still wasn't open. We were in this house with this one room that we were not allowed to go in. It was a big, beautiful house that did not have international calling. So we had to walk 5 miles every time we wanted to make a phone call. And when you're trying to escape from the Yakuza, you're walking a hell of a lot of 5 miles. But so, yeah, they had a room where we were not allowed to go into where 2 Japanese men in suits, because Yakuza will always wear suits to hide their tattoos, chopped off a guy's finger in this room. Next morning, me and my best friend and we already knew there was problems. We were already trying to call the agent that sent us over there. He wasn't helping us. So we were calling our families. Cousin Amy's dad still gives her shit about getting our tickets changed to this day. So yeah, stripping is not just, I'm going to go to the strip club and go back to my trailer. It was a whole career where I got to travel the world and paid to do it and flown out to do it. And I was already traveling the world with rock stars, but shit, yeah. Doing this to make my own money? Hells yeah. Hells yeah. So that was my actual stripping career. And I know this is a really long vlog, so if you guys have made it through here, the whole vlog, whether you've watched it all or once or a couple different times, thank you. Thank you for hearing me out for what stripping was really like. For me and many women that I knew, especially in Las Vegas, because Las Vegas is the mothership of motherships for strippers. That's where you're going to make the most money. I made a lot of it. But you know what? I made my own name in the strip club world. I stood on my own 2 feet. And I was going to college, and I didn't finish college because of John died, and my life went skiwambus after that. So I became an author instead. I wanted to become a curator at a museum. I was studying art history, had been accepted into University College of London's art history program, which is a big, huge program over there in Europe, and a lot of the top museums in the UK and Europe get their interns and stuff there. So that's what I was studying, art history. I didn't plan on being an author, but I always knew I was going to be a stripper. So there you go, guys. Now, next time you guys go to the strip club, what are you going to do? Tip her at least $5 on that stage. Ladies, don't go for the dollars. Go for the 5s, 10s, and 20s. And charge what you want, because you're an independent contractor. If you're not getting paid hourly and you're paying to work there, you're an independent contractor. Don't be a hoe. Don't be a hooker. Have some self-respect and some self-esteem while being a dancer. Don't cross the lines, and keep a boundary from your personal life and your career life. Okay? All right. Well, thanks for hearing me babble about my strip club career, because it was a career. I walked out of the Deja Vu Showgirls in Las Vegas September 3rd. No, it was after September. It was after the Sex Pistols had played here again. But walked out, didn't tell anybody it was my last night, and never looked back. That was 2003. I was 33 years old. So I danced from 20 to 33. 13 years. Yep. And it was a blast. I wouldn't change it for a thing. And I'm glad the route that I took on it, because, wow, I lived a pretty big strip life. All right. Thanks for listening to my stripper babble. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button to hear more rock tales and cocktails, because, like I always say, I've got some of the biggest names in the world that no other stripper has. Or groupie, because I was groupie for a stripper later. Like, the rock stars didn't look at me as a stripper. because I was a groupie for 5 years before I became a stripper. Never let any rock star I knew come into that strip club, never invited him to, nothing. Because I keep my sex life away from my strip life. So there you go, guys. Hit the rock and roll buttons and hit my bells to get notified. All right, thanks, guys. See you next week on Cocktails and Rocktails.